Hey guys, welcome to All Time Gaming. I'm Chris.
I'm Jamie.
And I'm Alex. And this episode, we're talking scares.
I mean, you could have done fucking something.
Scary.
Could have been like, ooh, scares.
Yeah.
Or,
Try and
I mean,
do
fuck,
something
you know,
clever
just
with it.
get into the fucking mood, Alex Jones.
And I'm Alex. And this episode, we're talking scares.
Oh my
God,
god.
that was way too... It wasn't so much the scary as it was just obnoxiously loud.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Halloween is the perfect time to discuss the games that have made Markiplier's career and, of course, make us stock up on clean underwear.
But we're discounting games that purely rely on jump scares because it's a bit cheap.
Yeah, fuck jump scares.
So on that note, here are our 6 scariest games.
You could still get into it, Alex Jones. Scary.
I am into it. I'm not a fucking children's TV presenter.
So we all remember the train wreck that was Aliens Colonial Marines, right?
That game was dog shit, but dog shit is scary because you're going to tread in it.
I don't understand what you're saying. Buggy, slow, lazily written, and falsely advertised. That was 2013. You would have thought that the world would distrust another Sega game from the Aliens franchise. However, in 2014, Creative Assembly released Alien Isolation to mostly positive reviews. Why? Well, everything that Colonial Marines got wrong, Isolation largely got it right. The game puts you in the shoes of Amanda Ripley, daughter of Ellen Ripley, as she attempts to discover what happened aboard the Nostromo 15 years earlier. The main reason this is on the list is the helplessness that Amanda feels when navigating the Sevastopol.
Sylvester
We've
Stallone.
got the Sevastopol.
Sevastopol. In this game, you are pitted against a single alien. Now, that may not sound like much, but remember, this is a xenomorph capable of ripping through an entire squad of Marines. So your squishy shelf, hey,
Squishy shelf.
squishy shelf.
It's where I put my tools, on the squishy shelf.
So your squishy self should be no trouble whatsoever.
It's Alien 1.
It is Alien 1.
Alien
It's
1 was
Alien 1 in a
scary
game.
as fuck. And there was one xenomorph. And this is one xenomorph against you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be in a ship.
It's just that feeling of helplessness, right? Like you will get ripped apart if you cross paths.
Yeah.
The AI was intelligent and relentless. You may get lucky once, but when that radar blipped through your controller, at least on the PS4 version, it made the tension palpable, personal. No, it's not the jump scares that'll do you in during isolation. It's knowing that it's coming and it can't be stopped. Inevitable, really. You're gonna die.
If you've been paying the slightest bit of attention to games in the last year, you'll know that Hideo Kojima has a bit of a strained relationship with publishers Konami.
Saying the least, right?
Yeah, strained is a generous word. There had been rumours for months, of course, but the sudden appearance of the brilliant PT and its equally sudden disappearance was the first time a lot of people sat up and took notice. PT was the 10th survival horror trailer demo for Silent Hills, made with renowned Mexican Guillermo del Toro and everyone's favourite lankhead survivalist Norman Reedus. It was an inspired bit of marketing based partly on how great the hype surrounding Daryl Dixon was, but mostly because the gameplay was genuinely terrifying and a fantastic taste of what was to come. In many ways, PT was far from revolutionary, as it employed the usual array of creepiness and an unnerving story of degradation that pieces together over time. Yeah, there were some jump scares as well, but what marked PT out was the fact that it was solid, entertaining, and polished to a mirror shine.
When you stare at the mirror stares back at you.
Narcissus stared at himself in the river, then died. Ancient moral story. The timing and false flags were near pitch perfect, and it had Del Toro's fingerprints all over it, not in a sexual way.
No, but more like a KFC kind of way.
The sound design too hit that perfect blend of strange and familiar, unnerving the player just enough to add to that sense of unease found when exploring the surroundings. The game forced you to go through the same place over and over, only more messed up each time.
Amnesia. Amnesia. Even the sound of the word makes you think that the person saying it has forgotten how words work. It's also an amazing device for writers to create mystery in a protagonist's backstory. And by amazing, I mean it's overused to the point where you half expect every poor bastard in a game or film to have it.
Especially Final Fantasy. Everyone's got amnesia.
Who's
You know what
that?
they don't have enough of? People with dementia.
That would be fucking weird because you could have them get more and more, like, demented.
Dementia, the Dark Descent.
You
Star
what?
as an old lady in her 60s who slowly starts to forget her family members' names. Eventually, she forgets to eat, breathe, and shit. That's when you realise dementia is not a laughing matter.
Now, with amnesia can come fear, and with fear comes horror, which leads us to Amnesia: The Dark Descent, a horror game for the permanently constipated. So, just how scary is Amnesia: The Dark Descent? Well, for starters, there are hundreds of videos on the net of people screaming in fear down a microphone, so that's pretty good. Or now they're just attention seekers. But aside from tinnitus, what can Amnesia do for you? Well, traditionally in a survival horror game, you would mostly hide in darkness, watch the monsters pass, and then leave to fight another day. Amnesia thought differently. Alongside the familiar health meter, a sanity meter was introduced to make the game more strategic. Linger in the darkness a little too long or stare at a monster just that bit too much and you begin to lose your sanity, the effect of which causes you to experience hallucinations that draw the attention of the monsters. So while you may want to know at all times where the big baddies are, the game would punish you for this behaviour. It would push you out of your comfort zone and, much like PT, force you onwards.
Guys, I have a question for you. What exactly are layers of fear?
Onion layers?
A birthday cake.
Parfait layers.
I think it's like a lasagna.
Lasagna of fear.
Garfield will be here.
No, he won't. He hates Mondays.
I mean, are we talking about a deep existential bedrock of dread covered by creamy layers of mild peril? Lasagna, right?
Oh, God,
I mean,
That's a great description of my mother-in-law's lasagna.
Well, look, whatever it is, Layers of Fear, the game, is a psychological horror from Bloober Team, whose previous works include such soaring classics as Double Bloob and Music Master Chopin. Though what they lack in experience in the genre, they more than make up for in sheer pant-wetting terror. Alex Jones knows what I'm talking about.
More toiletness.
The game follows a painter who, for reasons best known to himself, has decided to work on his magnum opus in the creepiest setting known to man, a deserted Victorian mansion.
Inspiration, isn't it, Chris?
Well, no fuck inspiration. You never fucking do anything in a deserted Victorian mansion.
I had a wanking one once.
Well, that's different.
Ectoplasm came out.
As the game progresses, you uncover more about your protagonist, his past history with his wife and child, and his obsession with finishing his work. Most of all, you learn that the painter is a colossal douchebag. The scares come from a gradual ramping up of tension, where the first level provides little unease and a few jump scares, while the final level 6 acts as a tense gothic horror that uses its hidden narrative to its best effect. Some people have criticized the game as pure YouTube fodder made for the express purpose of PewDiePie.
How's it going, bros? I'm playing a scary game.
PewDiePie! Others have said that it's one of the best horror games on the market. For us, the layer upon layer of tension and anticipation instead of a constant barrage of fear gives it a worthy place on this list. I think you'd all agree.
I found it spooky. Artists are temperamental and emotional. We know this.
Yeah.
Journalists, though, are supposed to be hard-headed and focused solely on the facts.
Oh yes, definitely.
Maybe journalists from 20 years ago.
Unless, of course, you're Miles Upshur from Outlast.
Upshur?
In that case, then you're more likely to spend your entire career breathing heavily and running from, well, stuff. Just anything that's chasing you, really. The common theme with all great horror games is a fear of the unknown, which often means that all inhabitants of spooky places like asylums, mansions, and towns have developed astonishing eyesight and an aversion to light bulbs. So it is with Outlast, which forces Upshur a lot of the time into green Mercavision, clouding half his vision and robbing the player of a sense of agency. Even so, the night vision is your best friend, and with a rapidly draining battery, you don't know which is more terrifying, being alone when the battery runs out, or being joined by something else. Oh, see, now I'm getting spooky, huh?
Oh.
Crucially, while the game itself is in first person, it resists the temptation to dive into FPS territory. You can't fight back or defend yourself. You can only really run and hide, maintaining the vulnerability of Miles Upshur. You, the player, seemingly have no control. You're just the poor idiot that's been dumped into the middle of the clusterfuck, and you must try and get yourself out with the correct number of limbs, preferably. It's tough.
6, yeah?
2 arms, 2 legs, a dick and a head. It's a tough, isolating experience, despite the knowledge that you're surrounded by a cast of nutjobs.
Loonies, if you will.
It's a loony bin.
So far, we've had a journalist, a painter, an archaeologist, an astronaut, and Norman Reedus playing Norman Reedus as Norman Reedus. But you know what makes every list better? Japanese schoolgirls.
Different list, right?
Yeah, you'll end up on a list with that.
Because apparently, Japanese schoolgirls are the most scared demographic on Earth. If the Fatal Frame game series and those late-night films I watch are anything to go by.
Different list,
They're
different
scary
film.
films, you know, it's scary films with Japanese schoolgirls.
It's very scary when those tentacles come out and just
Yeah,
go
tentacles are everywhere.
Under their skirts.
Why do they always go up the skirt?
What
It's weird.
website were you watching these films on?
JapaneseScaredGirls.com. Luckily, we're talking about Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly, where the protagonist at least wears sensible clothing and have no desire to dress in the thinnest material and take a cheeky dip in the water. Looking at you, Fatal Frame 5. The game looks at the exploits of 2 girls as they search an abandoned village that harbours the souls of the dead. Sensible people would probably have left the village well alone or had a look around during the day, but that's not what our 2 schoolgirl protagonists choose to do. do. So far, so predictable. However, unlike Outlast, which encouraged hiding from the beasties, Fatal Frame relied on you confronting your fears. Amnesia only made you face enemies when turning away wasn't an option, whereas Fatal Frame's entire mechanic was deliberately aiming the camera directly at the spirits to see where they were so you could try and defeat them. We said that jump scares are cheap, and they are. Five Nights at Freddy's is nothing but jump scares, but Fatal Frame took the device and used it to devastating effect. If you're expected to stand still and take a picture, you expect the picture to be static. Well, think again. Above all, it inspired horror for years to come. Even Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann called it the scariest kind of experience in any medium. High praise indeed.
So that was our pick of 6 of the scariest games available. What do you guys think? Did we miss your favorite off the list? Let us know in the comments down below, just underneath your nutsack.
While you're down there, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
And if you like the video and you want more chills, why not head over to our friends at Nightmare Fuel for some scarily good tales, and we will see you next time. Amnesia! What? It doesn't make sense.
Amnesia.